Dear students, Namaste and welcome back to a new mathematics session. In the previous class, we have discussed surface area and volume. Hope it was clear for you all. In today's session, we shall discuss a new chapter, that is chapter number 15, probability. Let's move on to the topic. Let's begin with the term probability. In class 9, you have studied the basic concepts of probability. Let's recall the concepts. Probability is the measure of uncertainty of events in a random experiment. Here, uncertainty in the sense the result is not sure. There, we are measuring the chance. So, in simple words, if you say probability is the measure of chance of events. Events means the result of a random experiment. And here again there is a word random experiment. Random experiment means the result of an experiment cannot be predicted beforehand. For example, if you are asked to do the sum of 1 and 2, we can say 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So beforehand we can predict the result. But in some experiments we cannot predict the result beforehand. Such type of experiments are called random experiment. For example, tossing a fair coin, rolling a fair dice, etc. Tossing a coin in the sense a coin is having two faces, head or tail. Before tossing the coin, we cannot predict the result, whether it will come up with head or tail. But we can only measure or we can only predict the chance. Rolling of a fair dice. Rolling of fair die in the sense a die is having 6 faces numbered 1 to 6. Before rolling the dice, we cannot predict which face will come up, whether it is numbered with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. These are the examples of random experiments. Means here we cannot predict the results beforehand. Sample space. Results of random experiment. All the possible results of a random experiment are collecting together and forming a set. We call it is sample space. Example, for tossing a fair coin, the sample space is head and tail. These are the possible results. Whether sometimes head may come, or if the head is not coming, then there is a chance of coming tail. The outcomes of a sample space are called equally likely if all of them have the same chance of occurring. Suppose for tossing a coin, head and tail, if the coin is a fair coin in the sense there is no priority, means head, both the side head is marked or both the side tail is marked or some defects are there in the coin, then that is not a fair coin. Then there is a chance of coming a particular side is more. So a fair coin in the sense a normal coin which is not having any defects. If a fair coin is tossed, then the possibilities of coming head and tail are equal, means they are having equal chances. So a sample space are called, the outcomes of a sample space are called equally likely if all of them have the same chance of occurring. As I said before, head and tail, when you toss a coin, both are having the same chance of coming up. Next, we shall discuss experimental probability and theoretical probability. What are the difference between experimental probability and theoretical probability? Here, as the word says, experimental probability is found by repeating an experiment and observing the outcomes. Repeating an experiment in the sense we are just doing an experiment continuously and we are just collecting the outcomes and finding out the probabilities. Probability of event is equal to the normal formula what we have used last year. The same thing, only here also repeating. Number of times event occurs divided by total number of trials. For example, a coin is tossed 10 times. A head is recorded 7 times and a tail is recorded 3 times. Here, an experiment is repeating 10 times. A coin is tossed, that is the experiment. It is repeating 10 times and we are recording the result. 7 times we have got a head, 3 times we have got tail. So here, probability of getting head is equal to 7 divided by 10. Favorable outcome is 7. Total number of experiments, that is 10. And the probability of getting tail is 3 divided by 10. 3 times we have got tail and total 10 times we have done the experiment. So this is an example of experimental probability. Experimental probability in the sense we are conducting an experiment continuously and recording the results. Based on the results, we are writing the probability. That is experimental probability. Next is theoretical probability. Theoretical probability in the sense, as the word says, theoretical means theoretical probability is what expected to happen based on mathematics. We have learned the definition of mathematics, definition of probability in mathematics. By using that definition of probability, we are defining the probability of that particular event. Such probabilities are called theoretical probability. For example, a coin is tossed. Here a coin is tossed only one time. So we have learned that when a coin is tossed, we have two outcomes, head or tail. So total number of outcome is 2. Means instead of 10, we are writing 2. And out of these two outcomes, one will be head and another one will be tail. So probability of getting a head is 1 out of 2. And the probability of getting a tail also 1 out of 2. Here, let's write the probabilities. Probability of head is equal to 1 divided by 2 and the probability of tail is equal to 1 divided by 2. So these are the main differences between experimental probability and theoretical probability. Experimental probability in the sense we are just conducting an experiment a particular number of times and recording the results. Based on the results, we are writing the probabilities. But theoretical probability in the sense, by using the definition of probability in mathematics, we are just writing the values. That is the measure of chances. Here, the theoretical or classical probability of an event E, written as P of E, is defined as P of E is equal to number of outcomes favorable to E, or simply if you say favorable outcomes, number of favorable outcomes divided by number of all possible outcomes of the experiment. Simple language, if you say P of E is equal to number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Formula is same. Last year and this year, the formula what we have learned is same. Next, we shall discuss some important points from this chapter, probability. The probability of an event E is a number P of E such that 0 less than or equal to P of E less than or equal to 1. Means the probability of an event, when you calculate, it always lies between 0 and 1, both included. Means 0 also chances are there, 1 also chances are there, and numbers between 0 and 1 also chances are there. So the probability of an event always lies between 0 and 1. It will not go above 1 and it will not come down to 0. So it lies between 0 and 1. The probability of an event which is sure or certain to occur is 1. Such an event is called a sure event or certain event. Here, probability of an event is 1 means we can call such event is certain event or sure event. Here, consider an example, rolling a die. And let's take an event P of E. E in the sense getting a number less than 7. This is our event, getting a number less than 7. Probability of getting a number less than 7 in the sense that is 6 by 6, that is equal to 1. It is a sure event. How we have got sure event? In the sense probability is 1. So how can we identify that it is a sure event? As we know that when we are rolling a die is having 6 faces numbered 1 to 6. So all these numbers 1 to 6 are less than 7. So anyway, if you roll a die, you will get a number less than 7. It is sure to happen. So directly we can write the probability as 1. Next is the probability of an event which is impossible to occur is 0. Such an event is called an impossible event. For example, if you are doing an event and you will know that it will never happen, it is impossible to happen, then directly we can write the probability as 0. Such event are called impossible event. Consider an example. A box contains 3 blue, 2 white and 4 red marbles. If a marble is drawn at random from the box, the probability that it will be an orange color. So in a box there are some marbles, it is there, that is 3 blue, 2 white and 4 colors. If you note, it is blue are there, white marbles are there, red marbles are there. but you are asked to choose an orange color marble from the box. So it is not at all possible, because when it is given to you, it is having blue, white and red marbles, but you are asked to draw a orange colored marble. So it is not there within the box, so it is not at all possible. So it is called an impossible event, and directly we can say that the probability is 0. Here next is complementary events. Complementary event means the event representing not E is called the complement of event E, and we say that the events E and E dash are complementary events. The event representing not E, for example, probability of raining today is given to you, and if you want to write the complement of event E in the sense probability of not raining today, once again probability of raining today is given to you. Then if you want to write the complement in the sense, we can say probability of not raining today, means just opposite of the given event, and it is represented by E dash. E on top there should be a bar, we can read as E bar or E complement or E dash. So E and E dash are complementary events because one is the opposite of another one. Probability of raining today is given to you, and its complement is probability of not raining today. So always P of E and P of E dash or E complement, when you add you will get the answer as 1, means probability of E plus probability of E complement is equal to 1. This is a very important result. For example, as I said before, if it is given to you probability of raining today, then if you are asked to calculate the probability of not raining today, in the sense you have to find out the difference 1 minus probability of raining today. How we have got in the sense P of E is equal to 1 minus P of E dash. For example, P of E, if you want to calculate, take this P of E dash to the right side. So it becomes 1 minus P of E dash. And this is the way we calculate the complementary events probability. Next, we shall discuss elementary event. An event having only one outcome of the experiment is called an elementary event. Only one outcome of the experiment. An event having only one outcome of the experiment. Let's take an example and discuss. Getting a head when a coin is tossed once. So when a coin is tossed once, there are two possible outcomes. You may get head or tail. Here the event is explained to you, or the event is described as getting a head when a coin is tossed. So getting a head in the sense, when you toss a coin, you will have only one head to appear. So it is an elementary event. Next is the sum of the probabilities of the elementary events of an experiment is 1. So whatever elementary events are there, when you take out that one and the probabilities when you add, you will get 1 as total. Let's take an example. P of E plus P of F is equal to 1. First of all, you have to define E and F through an example. Tossing a coin once, the number of possible outcomes is 2. This is an example we are taking. You are tossing a coin once. The number of possible outcomes, as we have discussed before, 2 outcomes are there, head and tail. And let's define E and F. That is, E be the event getting a head, and F be the event getting a tail. Now E and F we have defined, and E and F are the elementary events of the experiment. Elementary events of the experiment in the sense E and F are having only one element. Means one element in the sense getting a head is E, means only one head is there. F we have defined getting a tail, there is only one tail. So because of that they are called elementary events, and we are going to prove that P of E and P of F, when you add you will get 1. Probability of E and the probability of F is 1. So let's find out P of E and P of F. So P of E is equal to, E we have already defined here, that is getting a head. Probability of getting head. Here there is only one head out of 2 outcomes. Head and tail are our outcomes. So there is only one head. The probability is favorable number of outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Favorable in the sense what comes here as question. So head is our question. So we have only one head. So 1 divided by 2. Next is probability of F. F we have defined getting a tail. P of f is equal to P of tail. Tail in the sense we have only one tail, that is our favorable outcome. Number of favorable outcome is 1, divided by total number of outcomes. Here we have 2 outcomes, so 1 divided by 2. Let's check by adding P of E plus P of F. So when we add P of E and P of F, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, so we will get as 1. That is P of E plus P of F is equal to 1. Hence we can say that the sum of the probabilities of all the elementary events of an experiment is 1. Next, we shall discuss the exercise questions. First question from exercise 15.1. Complete the following statements. Fill in the blanks questions. The first one, probability of an event E plus probability of the event not E is equal to dash. So event E and event not E, their sum means they are complementary events. Complementary event sum is always 1. Second question, the probability of an event that cannot happen is dash. Such an event is called dash. So probability of an event that cannot happen, that will never happen, is 0. And such event is called impossible event, that is not at all possible. So the probability of an event that cannot happen is 0. Such an event is called impossible event. Third question, the probability of an event that is certain to happen is dash. Such an event is called dash. So probability of an event that is certain to happen, sure to happen. Sure to happen means it is 1 probability. Such an event is called sure event. Fourth one, the sum of the probabilities of all elementary events of an experiment is dash. We have done the previous slide this proof. The sum of the probabilities of all elementary events. Elementary events in the sense only one outcome. So elementary events probability sum is always 1. Fifth and the last question, the probability of an event is greater than or equal to dash and is less than or equal to dash. It's a probability scale question. Probabilities always lies between 0 and 1. We have learned that 0 less than or equal to P of E less than or equal to 1 means an event is greater than or equal to, probability of an event is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 1. So the probability always lies between 0 and 1. Next, question number 2. Which of the following experiments have equally likely outcomes? Explain. So equally likely outcomes, let's recall equally likely outcomes. Equally likely outcome in the sense outcomes having equal chances. In an experiment all the outcomes are having equal chances, then we can say that it is equally likely outcomes. Example, we have learned tossing a coin. So getting a head and getting a tail, both are equally likely outcomes. Here first one is a driver attempt to start a car. The car starts or does not start. It is not an equally likely outcome because the car starts or does not start. It depends upon several other factors. For example, the weather is also a factor. If it is a rainy day or if it is a very cool day, then the car may not start. So the probability is not equally likely, means both starting or not starting, not having the same probability. So we can say that this is not an equally likely outcome. Next one, a player attempts to shoot a basketball. He or she shoots or misses the shoot. This also not an equally likely outcome because it depends upon the expertise. If he is well practiced or well trained player means it is a sure event, he will surely shoot, and if he is not perfectly practiced then he misses the shoot. So this is also not equally likely outcomes because other factors are influencing like practice and expertization and all those things. So this is not an equally likely outcome. Next one is a trial is made to answer a true or false question. The answer is right or wrong. Here you can see there a trial is made means the one who is answering the question, he don't know the answer. That is called a trial. He is just making an attempt. He don't know what is the answer. And in a true or false question, as you know that there are only two chances, true or false. And if you don't know the answer and if you simply guess the answer, there are 50-50 chances. It may be true or it may be false. So the answer is right or wrong. There are equal chances, means 1 by 2 is the probability. So this is an equally likely outcome. Please note that your trial, this is a trial, you are just making an attempt and you don't know the answer. If you know the answer, means it is a sure event. And if you don't know the answer, then it is, if you are not knowing about the answer prior to attending the question, then only we can say that it is equally likely. 50-50 chance. Next is a baby is born, it is a boy or a girl. So here a baby is born. Before birth, of course, now new technologies are there. We can just check whether it is a boy or girl, but it is a criminal offense. So nobody will go for that. So if you wait till the delivery, there is equal chance of getting a boy or a girl. They are equally likely outcomes. Next, we shall discuss question number 3. Why is tossing a coin considered to be a fair way of deciding which team should get the ball at the beginning of a football game? So here it is mentioned in the case of a football game, but almost all the games they used to toss a coin before starting. So like in cricket, which team should bat first or which team should bowl first? The decision is made by making after tossing the coin. So both the captains will be called at the center and they used to toss the coin. And here in case of football also, which team should get the ball at the beginning, at first. So that is decided by tossing a coin. Why it is considered to be a fair way of decision making? That is what the question. So quite simple, because when you toss a coin, fair coin, it is having two outcomes, means either head may come up or tail may come up, and both head and tail, they are having equal chances of coming up. That means they are called equally likely outcomes. So because of that, we cannot say that the referee is favoring one particular team, because they are giving equal chances, getting head as well as getting tail. So because of that, we can say that tossing a coin is considered to be a fair way of deciding which team should get the ball at the beginning of a football game. Here a coin has only two sides, head and tail. As we have discussed before, they are having two faces, head and tail. The chance of getting a head and the chance of getting tail is the same. Previously we have calculated this, means total two outcomes, head and tail are there. Probability of getting head is one head out of two. Probability of getting tail also one tail out of two. So 1 by 2 is the probability. Thus, tossing a coin is a fair way of decision making, because both the outcomes, head and tail, are equally likely, because they are having equal chance. Which means that the result can never be biased and both teams have an equal chance of winning. Which means that the result can be never be biased. Biased in the sense a particular team is supported. Not like that. They are having equal chances. Both the teams are given equal chances. So the main reason is here equally likely, because the outcomes are equally likely. That is why tossing a coin is considered to be a fair way of making decisions in game. Next we shall discuss question number 4. Which of the following cannot be the probability of an event? So there are 4 values given to us. First one is 2 by 3. So when you divide 2 by 3, the denominator is more, numerator is less. Means it is always less than 1. So numerator is smaller and the denominator is bigger. Means when you divide, you will get a 0 point something here. And here when you check, it is a negative value, minus 1.5. The probability of an event never will come as negative. Means this is not the probability of an event, because it is a negative number. We have learned that the probability of an event is always lies between 0 and 1, both inclusive. 0 also can come, 1 also can come, and numbers between 0 and 1 also possible. So this is okay, 2 by 3. And here minus 1.5, negative value. This is not the probability of an event. And here 15%. 15% in the sense 15 by 100. 15 by 100 when you divide, 0.15 will come. This is also chances are there. And 0.7. This also lies between 0 and 1 and positive as well. So this is also probability of an event. Only one number which is not the probability of an event, that is minus 1.5, because it is a negative number. So probability of an event cannot be negative. So minus 1.5 cannot be the probability of an event. Move on to question number 5. If P of E is equal to 0.05, what is the probability of not E? So P of E is given to us and P of not E we have to calculate. And we have already learned that P of E plus P of not E is equal to 1, complementary event sum. P of E plus P of not E is equal to 1. We are asked to calculate P of not E. So P of not E is equal to, take this P of E to the right side, that is 1 minus P of E. P of E value is given to us 0.05. So P of not E is equal to 1 minus 0.05, that is equal to 0.95. Next one, question number 6. A bag contains lemon flavored candies only. Malini takes out one candy without looking into the bag. What is the probability that she takes out an orange flavored candy? And second question, a lemon flavored candy. Let's go through the question again. A bag contains lemon flavored candy only. It's having only lemon flavored candies. And Malini takes out one candy at random. What is the probability that she takes out an orange flavored candy? So choosing an orange flavored candy is an impossible event because there is no orange flavored candy is there in the bag. The bag is containing only lemon flavored candy. So we are asked to take orange flavored. It is an impossible event, not at all possible. So the probability of an orange flavored candy is 0. Probability of selecting an orange flavored candy is 0 because it is an impossible event. Next is the probability of a lemon flavored candy. The bag full contains lemon flavored candy only. So whether you are looking at the bag or not looking at the bag, and if you pick a candy from the bag, you will get a lemon flavored candy only. So it is a sure event. Choosing a lemon colored flavored candy is a sure event because the bag is containing full of lemon flavored candy, and your event also lemon flavored candy only, picking a lemon flavored candy from the bag. It is a sure event. So the probability is 1. Next we shall discuss the 7th question. It is given that in a group of 3 students, the probability of 2 students not having the same birthday is 0.992. What is the probability that the 2 students have the same birthday? This also just go through the question and identify which type it is. It is given that the group of 3 students, probability of 2 students not having the same birthday. Probability of 2 students not having the same birthday. It is given to us 0.992. What is the probability that 2 students have the same birthday? You can see these two are complementary events. It is given here 2 students not having the same birthday, and asked to find out 2 students have the same birthday. They are opposite to each other, means they are complementary events. So P of E plus P of not E is equal to 1. Here P of E is equal to 1 minus P of not E. P of not E is given to us. 2 students not having the same birthday, it is given to us 0.992. So let's substitute the value here. 1 minus 0.992, we will get the answer as 0.008. Next, we shall discuss question number 8. The question is, a bag contains 3 red balls and 5 black balls. A ball is drawn at random from the bag. What is the probability that the ball drawn is a red? Next one is not red. Let's go through the question once again. A bag contains 3 red balls, 5 black balls. So let's write down the given things. Number of red balls 3, number of black balls 5. For calculating the probability, we need the total number. So the total number of balls 3 plus 5, that is 8. Now we'll go to the first question. What is the probability of choosing a red ball? Red ball in the sense we have favorable outcome, number of red balls, that is 3. Total number of outcomes 8. So the required probability is 3 by 8. So the probability of getting a red ball is equal to number of favorable outcomes divided by number of total outcomes. Favorable outcome in the sense, go through the question, getting a red ball. So red ball is 3. Total outcome means it is here 8. So the answer is 3 by 3 plus 5, that is equal to 3 by 8. The second part is probability of getting not a red ball. Not a red ball in the sense it should be black ball. 3 red balls are there. These 3 red balls should not come. Means you should get only one chance, that is black balls. So number of favorable outcomes divided by number of total outcomes. Black balls, we are having 5 black balls, that is our favorable outcomes. That is equal to 5 divided by the total, that is 5 divided by 8. Next we shall discuss question number 9. A box contains 5 red marbles, 8 white marbles and 4 green marbles. One marble is taken out of the box at random. What is the probability that the marble taken out will be red? Second one white, third one not green. These are the questions. Let's write down the given quantities. Number of red marbles, we have 5 red marbles, and a number of white marbles we have 8, and a number of green marbles we have 4. So first question is number of probability of choosing a red marble. So red marble in the sense 5 divided by, here we needed the total number of marbles we didn't calculate. Let's go for that first. Total number of marbles 5 plus 8 plus 4, that is equal to 17. 5 plus 8 is 13, 13 plus 4 is 17. Now number of probability of choosing a red marble. Red marble in the sense the number of favorable outcome is 5 because 5 red marbles divided by total is 17. Let's go for calculation. Probability of getting a red marble is equal to number of favorable outcome by number of total outcomes. Favorable outcome, favorable means go to the question, that is a red marble. So number of red marble is 5. So the favorable one is 5, total is 17. So 5 by 17 is the answer. Next one, the probability of getting a white marble. Favorable outcome means white marbles 8 divided by total is 17. So 8 divided by 17. The third one, the probability of getting not a green marble. You have to go through the question very carefully. Not a green marble means this green should not come. Here green should not come. Means red no problem, white also no problem. Green should not come. Means green is having no chance. So your favorable will change to these two, red and white. So 5 plus 8. That is 5 plus 8 by 17. 5 plus 8 means 13 divided by 17. So the probability of getting not a green marble is 13 by 17. Next we shall discuss the 10th question. A piggy bank contains 150 pi coins, 50 1 rupee coins, 20 2 rupee coins and 10 5 rupee coins. If it is equally likely that one of the coins will fall out when the bank is turned upside down, what is the probability that the coin will be a 50 pi coin, second one will not be a 5 rupee coin? So here a piggy bank contains 50 paise coins, 50 1 rupee coins, 20 2 rupee coins and 10 5 rupee coins. So let's write down these quantities. Number of 50 paise coins is 100. Number of 1 rupee coins rupees 50. Number of 2 rupee coins is rupees 20. Number of 5 rupee coin is rupees 10. Sorry, number of 5 rupee coin is 10. So we need the total for writing the probability. So the total number of coin is 180. 100 plus 50, 150, 170, 180. So total number of coin is 180. First question, what is the probability that it will be a 50 pi coin? 50 pi coin in the sense we have 100 in number. Total is 180. So quite simple, probability of 50 pi coin is equal to 100 by 180 because favorable one is 50 pi coin. 50 paise coin is 100. Total is 180. 100 by 180. That is equal to, when you cancel 20, here 5 times we can cancel, here 9 times. So 5 divided by 9. The second one is will not be a 5 rupee coin. Will not be a 5 rupee coin means this one will not come. That is probability of not a 5 rupee coin in the sense here 10 will not come. Other 3 will be coming. That is 100 plus 50, 150, 150 plus 20, 170. Total is 180. So 170 by 180 is the probability. We can cancel 0 on numerator and denominator. So it will come as 17 by 18. Move on to question number 11. Gobi buys a fish from a shop for his aquarium. The shopkeeper takes out one fish at random from a tank containing 5 male fish and 8 female fish. What is the probability that the fish taken out is a male fish? So, Gopi buys a fish from a shop for his aquarium. The shopkeeper takes out one fish at random from a tank containing 5 male fish and 8 female fish. The tank is having 5 male fish and 8 female fish. So total 13, 8 plus 5, 13 fishes. What is the probability that the fish taken out is a male fish? So let's write down the total number of fish in the tank, that is 5 plus 3, sorry 5 plus 8, that is 13. Here 5 male fish it is mentioned here, and 8 female fish. So 5 plus 8, 13. So number of male fish is 5. Here number of male fishes are there, 5. What is the probability that the fish taken out is a male fish? So our favorable one is male fish. That is what the question. So favorable outcome divided by total outcome, that is 5 divided by 13. So probability of choosing a male fish is equal to 5 divided by 13. Next we shall discuss question number 12. A game of chance consists of spinning an arrow which comes to rest pointing at one of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are equally likely outcomes. What is the probability that it will point at 8, an odd number, a number greater than 2, a number less than 9? So the spinner is looks like this, and the numbers are marked from 1 to 8. Here it is given to us, numbers are marked from 1 to 8. And all these are equally likely outcomes, means getting a number from these 8 numbers is having equal chances. So here what is the probability that it will point at 8? So let's go with the first question. Probability of getting an 8. Here you can see there is only one 8. Favorable outcome, the number of favorable outcome means how many 8s are here. Here there is only one 8. And the total outcomes, total number of outcomes, here total 8 numbers are there starting from 1 ending at 8. So there is only one 8, total number of outcomes 8 outcomes. So the probability is 1 divided by 8. Remember this 1, this is getting an 8 in the sense number of 8s available here. Number of 8s means here there is only one 8. So that the favorable number of outcome is 1, total number of outcome is 8. 1 by 8 is the probability. Next, getting an odd number. Here when you look at these 8 numbers, the odd numbers are 1, 3, 5 and 7. So 1, 3, 5 and 7. There are 4 odd numbers. So 4 divided by 8. That is, when you cancel it, it is 1 divided by 2. Remember odd numbers, number of odd numbers means you have to count the odd numbers from here. 1 is an odd number, 3 is another odd number, 5 is another one, and 7 is another one. So total 4 odd numbers are there. So that's why 4 by 8 came, that is equal to 1 by 2. Next is probability of getting a number greater than 2. You can see here number greater than 2. How many numbers are there greater than 2? Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 numbers are there greater than 2. So the probability is 6 divided by the total numbers 8. 6 divided by 8, when you cancel 2, we will get us 3 by 4. Next one, a number, probability of a number less than 9. Probability of getting a number less than 9. Here you can see all numbers are less than 9 only. Starting from 1 and coming up to 8. So these all numbers are less than 9. So it is a sure event actually. So that is 8 by 8, that is equal to 1. Dear students, today we have discussed the concept of probability and solved question number 1 to 12 from exercise 15.1. I request all the students to go through these notes and the problems, and if you have any doubt, please note it and keep. We will discuss it during the discussion session. Thank you for watching.